Good morning, Paso Robles. Today I want to try a new segment called Learning from Legends with the best boss I ever had, Mr. Greg Welch. We also want to check in with Nature's Harvest owner, Melanie Blankenship, on Main Street in Templeton. And I hope you enjoyed hearing from Lieutenant Michael Horn as he's going through Ranger School in Fort Benning, Georgia. We want to hear from Rebecca Horn. She's hunkered down in New York City, where she works in the financial district. So we're calling this segment Learning from Legends, and I have the extreme honor of talking with my favorite boss, Mr. Greg Welch. Mr. Greg Welch was the principal at Paso Robles High School. You know, there aren't many bosses that I know of that their employees will make t-shirts and have a boss day named after them, but that happened in the case of Greg Welch. He's a remarkable person, and I feel very honored to speak with him as our first guest here on Learning from Legends. Okay, could you tell me about yourself? Did you and Gwen grow up in Paso Robles?
I was fortunate that I was born and raised in Paso Robles. In fact, my wife was born and raised in Paso Robles as well. And attended Paso Robles High School, both of us did for 4 years, and then left Paso for 7 years with the intent we were never really going to come back. But as we discovered at a young age, once we were married in life, things change sometimes without your opinion or approval, and we ended up back in Paso Robles in 1977.
Did you always want to go into education? Did you know you were going to go become a teacher, or is that something that came too late? How long did you teach in the district, and what other experiences did you have in Paso Robles?
And I was in education at the high school for 34 years. I taught in Sacramento for 4 years before that, and I was basically a football coach, a baseball coach, a social studies teacher. And then later on, I became an activities director, an athletic director, a vice principal at the high school, a principal at Flamstead Middle School, a principal at the high school, and then an assistant superintendent for my last 7 years in education. When I was in high school, if someone would have told me that was going to be my career and what I was going to do, I would have laughed at them. I had no idea that things were going to turn out the way they did, but I'm grateful that they have, and I've had a wonderful experience. I came at a wonderful time in Paso Robles, I played football for Gil Asa, who the gym is named after. I played football for Frank Barnhart, who the baseball field is named after. I was hired the same year as Scott Larson, who the basketball court is named after. So I had a wonderful experience with a lot of historical figures in this community. I've worked with Frank Meacham, who was our county supervisor, was a little bit older than me in high school. We played baseball a little bit together. And then when he ran for an election at the county level, I was his campaign supervisor. And we had a blast, and we had a lifelong friendship.
As a former history teacher, I'm wondering if you have any advice for us about how to weather the pandemic and how to see it in a historical context.
These are extraordinary times that we live in. Never in our lifetime do we expect to have things turn out the way they've turned out recently. I know from experience that in some of my research about Paso Robles High School that during World War II they eliminated all athletics for a period of 3 years. So if you're a freshman coming into high school, you didn't play anything until your senior year. Many of the students that were of age left high school and went to war. So we've dealt with things in the past that have altered what we consider to be the norm. None of us know what this is going to be like when we get done with this. In fact, we don't know when it's going to end and what it's going to be like when it's over. And if it's going to be over for good or over temporarily with the ability to immune ourselves from this virus. Change is inevitable. Now that I'm 70 years of age, I can tell you from experience that change has happened in places I didn't expect. You got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to take advantage of the opportunity that is presented to you. sometimes it can be a big challenge.
So I know that you received a Parkinson's diagnosis a few years back. I wonder if you could speak to your experiences with Parkinson's and if you've learned anything from your health challenges.
4 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I talk a lot slower. My motion and movement is much slower than it used to be. Some days I struggle. Today I'm doing reasonably well, at least well enough to film this video. But that's a day-long challenge. I'm not going to die from Parkinson's, but I'm going to die with Parkinson's. But that is another situation where you can either be down in the dumps, or you can take it as a challenge and an opportunity to see what you can do with what you've been dealt with. I want to commend Aaron Cantrell for doing this project. A long time ago, when I first started teaching my freshman social studies classes, we tried to do oral history. And the reason we did it back then, in the early 70s, was the veterans from World War I were disappearing and there weren't many records of what they had gone through. In those days, we didn't do it by computer, we did it with a video recorder that barely would fit in the trunk of a car today. The 8-track, not 8-track, but the videotapes that we had probably weighed about a pound. And invariably the machines would break down and blank and pause at the wrong times. So we've come a long ways, but oral history is an important component of our ability as a community and as a culture to carry on the traditions and the historical aspects of what we're all about. So I commend Aaron, I commend his students. I know this is a difficult time for them and you, not being able to go to school. Probably for not all the reasons you're thinking of or I'm thinking of, but it becomes a big part of your life when you're in high school. And certainly at Paso Robles High School, where things go exceptionally well most of the time. And the Bearcat spirit is alive and well. So hang in there, push forward, and go Bearcats. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate talking with you as our first guest in Learning from Legends. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Melanie Blankenship, the owner of Nature's Touch Nursery and Harvest, and I'm here for you guys. We are planting gardens with people, we're feeding people. Hey, did you know I have a licensed kitchen where we're making all kinds of in-season fresh foods, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, whatever nutritional need you have, we have it.
So the next student I'd like to talk with you about in our series called Where Are They Now is Rebecca Horn. Rebecca Horn is such a wonderful person that I hired her to be my daughter's piano teacher, mainly so that my daughter would see a really amazing role model. And she is in New York City.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Pinkney. I graduated from Paso Robles High School in 2009 as Rebecca Horn. Then I graduated from Fordham University in New York City in 2013 with a business degree. I am currently an investment analyst at a fund. We manage money for teachers' pension funds, for hospital endowments, for a wide variety of institutions and families, and my job is to pick the right energy stocks for that fund. I got here, I think, by being pretty open-minded as I was going through school and in my career. I started out thinking I wanted to be a journalist actually at Paso Robles High School, and then from there I kind of went on to a marketing degree track in business, and then I started gravitating towards finance and the investment world. And that happened by really gravitating towards different people that I met through a lot of networking and really getting to reset after Paso High in terms of assessing where my skills really lay. And it was really cool to meet different people that hadn't known me before that could see where my skill set was taking us. So I think that's how I got here. What I want to do in the future is possibly be a portfolio manager at this fund or another fund. And my real dream is to maybe have a second career, maybe using my finance and investment skills, but in a nonprofit space. And then I think what I am most excited about coming out of COVID-19 would be, I'm hoping that this experience has given us a lot more empathy towards others. And I think this experience is hopefully teaching us that maybe people might be in a tougher position, whether it's filing for unemployment or waiting in line for food, not because of decisions they made, but because that is just something that has happened to all of us. So I'm hoping that we can take that empathy and compassion and take that forward past this crisis. And I hope you're all doing well.
Hi Bearcats, this is Rebecca Pinkney again. I'm here across the street from my apartment building on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. I live next to a couple of hospitals, and what I'm going to show you tonight is the famous 7 o'clock cheer in New York. This is where we all lean out our windows, bang pots and pans, clap our hands, and show our appreciation for frontline workers, for healthcare workers, for the people that are delivering our food, for everyone who's taking care of us at this time. And we have really loved this 7 o'clock cheer, and we're going to walk around and show you what that looks like in New York.
Well, that's it for episode 4. I really appreciate your support and the kind words. But most of all, I appreciate those of you that give me recommendations for future ideas for stories. I don't come up with much of this on my own. This is my community saying, try this and try that, and talk to him and talk to her. It's really, really fantastic. It's wonderful to see what a beautiful community we have, and keep the ideas coming. Thank you very much. Goodbye.